After months of growing, it's finally time for me to harvest my onions and my garlic. But if you pull garlic or onions at the wrong time, they won't store well and you're going to lose months of hard work. Today I'm showing you exactly how to know when they're ready, how to harvest them properly, how to cure and store them, and some of our favorite ways to use the harvest all year long. Hi guys, welcome back to my garden, and today I am about to harvest this garlic. I've already harvested my onions, and it's important to know the exact time when to harvest garlic and onions because you want to make sure that they store well and they're the right size. If you pick them too early, they're gonna rot, and they're also gonna be small. So you want to wait until the proper time to harvest them, which I'm going to get into in this video. So first I'm gonna talk about garlic, and as you can see, this garlic is about ready to harvest. The time to harvest garlic is when the outer leaves are starting to turn brown, which mine are starting to do. The inner leaves are still green. So garlic is usually harvested in the late spring to early summer. It depends on where you live. But the key is not to watch the calendar, but to look at your plants. So you wait until the outer leaves are brown. Don't just pick it because it's been a certain number of months or it's May or June or July. You have to watch the leaves, not the calendar. So the cool thing to know about onions and garlic is that each leaf represents a wrapper or a layer of the bulb underground that you can't see. So if you have a lot of leaves, that's really good. That means you're gonna have a lot of layers. And it's really important to pick garlic at the right time because if you wait too long, what's gonna happen is that the bulb is gonna split underground. We wanna make sure we know exactly when to harvest them. Now onions are a little bit different. Onions, you wait until they start falling over. You want most of them, like 50 to 80% of them, to be falling over before you go to harvest the bunch of them. So there's a difference between letting the onions fall over naturally versus forcing them over. Don't force them to fall over. Wait until they fall over naturally. That's going to tell you when it's time to harvest the onions. Also, you wait until the neck starts to dry out. That will also be an indicator that it's time to harvest your onions. Now I want to get into how to harvest onions and garlic. When you go to harvest them, you got to be really careful not to just yank the bulb straight out of the ground. That's a tendency I think a lot of new gardeners might have. But you really want to loosen the soil around the bulbs and then pull them from the bottom up, like reach your hands in there or your shovel or whatever, your tool, and gently pull them up. Be careful if you're using some kind of shovel not to pierce the bulbs as you're trying to pull them up. And when you do go to harvest them, make sure to brush off the excess dirt. Don't wash them. And make sure to leave the leaves on the bulbs. You don't need to chop it off. Is actually key for helping them cure properly, which we'll get into in a second here. Next, I want to get into curing your onions and garlic, and this is really important for long-term storage. You need to cure your bulbs in order for them to last over a period of months. So when you go to cure your onions and garlic, you're going to want to put them in a dry, protected place, and you want to ensure that they have good airflow. So you want to make sure that the place you're putting them, like for example, I use my garage, I put them on window screens or wire shelving, and then I kind of rotate them. I check on them regularly to make sure that they're getting good airflow and they're not rotting. This process ensures that the bulb dries out, there's no like water or anything like that that's going to cause rot. And it's important during this process to keep your onions and garlic in a dry, shaded location. You don't want them in direct sunlight. You want to give them about 2 to 4 weeks, 2 to 3 maybe for onions, for them to cure properly. And you'll know they're done because they'll be dry and papery on the outside. The leaves will have dried out and they'll start to look kind of brown. You want it to be fully dried out, and you want the outer skin to be kind of papery. Once your onions and garlic are cured, you want to store them in a cool, dry location. A root cellar is perfectly fine. If you don't have a root cellar, look for somewhere else that is dry, shaded, and cool. And you can store them in like mesh baskets or bags, or you can braid your garlic and store it that way by hanging it. So you want to make sure that, again, they have airflow. You want to make sure there's no moisture. You don't want them to rot. Garlic, the soft neck garlic can be stored for 6 to 9 months-ish, and then the hardneck garlic can be stored for about 3 to 6 months in storage. Also know that sweet onions don't store as well as some of the storage varieties, so they're going to go bad faster. You want to use them up faster. And some mistakes to avoid are putting them putting your onions and garlic in a moist location or a location that has a variable climate in it. So I have a few ideas here for what to do with your harvest. You can make onion or garlic powder, so you can dry them out, blend them up, make them into a powder. You can do roasted garlic, fermented garlic. You can do caramelized onions and freeze them. You can dehydrate onion slices to add to like soups and stews and canned goods, casseroles. Another idea is to make garlic infused oil, as long as you follow safe food preservation guidelines. And also make sure you save the biggest cloves for next year's crop. So you'll want to save the whole head. You don't want to just pick out cloves, you want to save a whole head. So I usually save a few heads so that I can plant them again. So I love growing onions and garlic. They do well here in Texas. They're something that's pretty reliable to grow. And they store for a long time, and I feel so proud when I harvest these, knowing that they're gonna feed my family. As long as you follow the proper storage and curing guidelines, you'll have a bountiful harvest that will be feeding you for the next few months. So for my garlic, the past 2 years I've been growing Ishalium Red, and it's a soft neck garlic. I've done hard neck garlic before, but it does not grow well in Texas. The soft neck garlic is better suited for southern climates. So I've had a lot of success with this type of garlic, and I know other people in my area grow other types of soft neck garlic. So if you live in the south, soft neck garlic is the way to go. And then for my onions, I've done the 10-15 Texas super sweet onion, and that does really well. I've tried other onions like the Texas early grano. I've tried growing onions from seed, and I find that the seed grown onions don't do as well as the sets. If you're growing a summer garden, be sure to watch my previous video on what to plant next after the garlic and onions come out of the garden. And let me know in the comments what's your best garlic or onion growing tip. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I have a link to some more resources down in the description box, as well as my gardening book series that is available now on Amazon. So be sure to check that out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.